In this practice, we're going to be doing some mindful movements. The purpose of this practice is to bring our awareness to the sensations in our body as we move and to sensitively explore the limits of what we can do with our bodies at any given moment. In this way, the movements become a model for how we can bring mindfulness to everyday life and activities, taking our attention right into the body as we move through our days. So finding a time and a place where you won't be interrupted and where you have enough space so that you can lie on the floor with some room around you, perhaps on a mat or a blanket to protect yourself from the hardness of the floor, wearing loose and comfortable clothing, maybe removing your shoes and loosening anything that constricts your waist. So beginning by settling into lying down on your back in a comfortable position, with the legs stretched out and the feet falling away from each other, bringing your arms alongside your body with the palms open to the sky. This posture is called Shavasana. It's important to feel your way into the posture. So, if lying on your back with your legs extended and your arms rolled open doesn't feel okay, then placing your hands on your belly so your elbows are on the floor, but your hands are on the belly, adjusting your legs so that your feet are on the floor, knees bent, pointing towards the sky. This posture is called the essential rest posture. You might want to bring a bit of curiosity by trying each one, Shavasana posture and the essential rest posture, noticing which of these two positions feels more easeful or less uncomfortable, depending on what's happening for you. As the position takes shape, tuning into the experience of it, maybe feeling the weight coming down, and maybe feeling the support of the ground, or the movement of the breathing rhythm, the rising and the falling, breath coming in, breath going out. When you're resting in this way, you might choose to connect with your intention to be present in a moment-to-moment way as we move through the practice. Intentionally intending to be present. And remembering that with all these movements, it's up to you to choose rather than feeling like you have to do them. You're in charge of your body. Knowing you can do more or less than the guidance, and feeling free to adapt and adjust as you wish. And all the while respecting the limits of your body as they show up in any given moment. The invitation is to come up to the limits, but taking care not to push through them. And another option is to imagine doing the postures, if that's what's right for you. If you'd like to try out a movement, bringing your hands to your sides, palms facing down, and tuning into the breath. feeling the breath coming in and out, so that you can marry your breathing to your moves if you wish. So when you next find your body breathing in, sweeping your arms up towards the sky and all the way back overhead towards the floor. And then when your body starts breathing out, lifting up the arms towards the sky and lowering them back down again by your sides. You can take this movement as a pattern, inhaling to reach up, exhaling to lower the arms. And going at your own pace in this rhythmic way. And how is this for you? Noticing the body, noticing the breathing, letting the body sensations and the breathing be an anchor for the attention. And also, in a light way, being aware of the other experiences that happen. You may notice thoughts. You may notice mood. You may notice sounds. You may notice sights. So foregrounding body sensations and breathing, but also including the wider picture of your experiences. You can continue moving in this rhythmic way, or another possibility is to linger one of these times when you've reached your arms up overhead. The backs of the hands may be resting on the floor, or not. What might it feel like to hook your thumbs together here, or to interlace your fingers and invite the body to stretch? Continuing to be aware of the body sensations as you explore the edges of the limit of this particular shape that you've created. There may be very subtle movements, like the breath. Or some sense of expanding or softening. And staying in this position as long as you wish. And when you feel you've had enough time with it, separating the hands and slowly raising the arms towards the sky, and then slowly bringing the arms all the way down to the ground. Feeling the shifting weight of the arms as they make their journey back down. And coming back to your home base, whether that's Shavasana or the essential rest position. And pausing in this home base. Awake to what's here. You may find the mind wandering, and that's okay. The practice is to know what's happening whilst it's happening. And when the mind wanders, gently and clearly bringing the mind back to an awareness of the body lying here. So in this next movement, drawing the feet up towards the buttocks, having them about hip width apart so that the knees are bent and pointing up towards the sky. Your body making an inverted V shape with the legs. And from here, the invitation is to do some pelvic tilts. If you have any back problems, doing this with a very fine awareness of what your body is telling you. So feeling the lower back in contact with the floor, and you can emphasize this by pressing the lower back further into the floor, and the tailbone slightly lifts up. Then reversing this by slightly arching the lower back, tilting the tailbone into stronger connection with the floor, with the abdomen rising. And you'll find a space opens up between the floor and the lower back. Gently rocking the pelvis at your own pace, rolling the small of the back down into the floor and the tailbone comes up, and then reversing this. And as you continue to move in this way, you can experiment with allowing the movements to be in rhythm with the breath if you choose. Perhaps breathing in as the lower back opens out from the floor, and breathing out as the lower back presses into the floor. This movement can be very gentle and subtle, or you can find that your upper body is drawn into the movement. Noticing the detail of what is happening in your body as you move in this way. Sensations in your abdomen and your lower back. And when you're ready, bring the pelvic tilts to a close. With this next invitation, continuing with your feet on the floor and the knees bent pointing up towards the sky. And then from here, picking your feet up off the floor and moving the knees towards the chest, but only far enough so that you can place your hands on your knees with your arms fully extended. So creating a position where your arms are long, your elbows are straightened, and your hands are cupped over your kneecaps. Once you've created this position, tuning into the breath again. And when your body next starts to breathe out, bending your elbows and gently pulling your thighs closer to your belly. And then breathing in, straightening your elbows and moving your thighs back away from the belly until the arms are straight. So doing this a few times at your own pace, exhaling as you bend your elbows and drawing your thighs closer to the belly, and inhaling as you straighten your elbows, moving your thighs away from the belly again. Aware of the sensations you're experiencing, remembering there's no right or wrong way to feel, but rather exploring and being curious about what's happening, feeling your way with it all, knowing that you can always stop sooner than my guidance or stay longer, making this your practice. One of these times when you're bringing the thighs closer to the chest, you could linger here. You might choose to shift your arm position at this point to put your hands on your shins maybe, or behind your thighs if that's more comfortable for your knees. And staying in this shape with the knees drawn closely to the belly. And then, if you wish, you could take one hand behind your head so you're supporting the weight of your head with your hand. And as you exhale, curling your chin towards your chest and bringing your forehead and knees towards each other. And you can hover here as long as you'd like to, feeling the experiences of this position. And of course, as we go through these different movements, it's very likely you'll find some parts are pleasant, some are unpleasant, and some are more neutral. And that too is part of the practice. And when you feel like it's appropriate or wise, lowering the head and then lowering the feet all the way back to the floor. If you'd like to slide your legs long during this pause, coming to Shavasana, you can do that, or you can stay in the essential rest posture, tuning into any rippling effects of the movements. So, continuing to bring together the attention and the body experiences. And exploring the guidance around nothing to do, no place to get to, nothing to accomplish when we're practicing mindful movements. What would it be like to do the next movement from a sense of non-striving, not trying to get anywhere, but instead exploring and listening and responding? It's an open question. No need to find an answer to it. It's the kind of question that's maybe helpful to carry with you as you practice. And now, as you next breathe in, drawing the left knee towards the chest and letting the breath flow freely as you take hold of the knee with one hand and the other hand holding the shin. Experimenting with drawing the knee in closer towards the chest. Opening to any intensity, breathing into it, and then softening as you breathe out. Exploring where the limit of this movement is for you in this moment, and hanging out here. And if you wish to increase the intensity of this posture, tucking in the chin and taking the right hand to the back of the head to support the weight of the head as you gently support lifting it off the floor towards the knee, but only doing this if this is okay for your neck and upper back. Breathing into and out of any intensity and being very sensitive to the messages your body is giving you and responding to these. And now gently, with awareness, coming out of the posture stretching out the left leg and pausing a moment as you lie here, tuning into the sensations that are alive in the body right now. Maybe noticing any differences between the right and left leg. And now, as you next breathe in, drawing the right knee towards the chest and letting the breath flow freely as you take hold of the knee with one hand and the shin with the other hand. Gently bringing the knee closer towards the chest, softening and opening. Bringing kindness and sensitivity to the limits expressed by your body in this moment. And if you choose, tucking in the chin, taking the left hand to the back of the head to support the weight of the head as you gently lift it off the floor up towards the knee. But again, only doing this if this is okay for your neck and upper back. Breathing into and out of any intensity. Being with this just as it is for you right now. Bringing your attention right into the stretch. And when you're ready, gently, with awareness, coming out of this posture, stretching out the left leg, settling into relative stillness as you open to what's present in your body right now. And if you choose, drawing both knees closer to the chest again, holding the knees or the shins, and exploring rocking a little from side to side, breath flowing freely, or maybe moving the knees in a circular motion. And reversing the direction of the circles. Open and receptive to the sensations created in the body as you move in this way. And, as with all of the positions we adopt, staying with it and lingering in it for what feels like the appropriate amount of time for your body. And then releasing, coming all the way back to your chosen home base, whether it's Shavasana or essential rest. And tuning into the after effects of the movements, however they may be. So let's now roll over and come into a hands and knees table-like shape. Aware of each moment of this transition, taking your time and settling into being on your hands and knees, having the wrists directly below the shoulders with the arms straight, spreading the fingers wide with the middle fingers pointing forwards towards the front of the mat. Knees directly under the hips and the back more or less flat. If it helps, you can place a folded blanket under your knees to give them some additional padding. And if this posture is too strong for the wrists, you can experiment with making a fist and being on all fours in this way. You might want to play with shifting your weight around, circling around, letting the weight move from one hand to the other, back to one knee, over to the other, feeling your way into this new orientation. When you feel like you've arrived in this new position, stabilizing that table-like shape, and again, becoming aware of your breathing. So that when you next breathe out, tucking your tailbone under, arching the middle back up towards the sky, dropping the crown of the head and tailbone towards the ground, and bringing the chin towards the chest. And as you breathe in, reversing the posture, allowing your belly to sink towards the floor as your chest and tail lift up towards the sky, keeping the back of the neck long. And going back and forth like this in your own rhythm, breathing out as you stretch the back up towards the sky, breathing in as you reverse. Moment to moment noticing. Bringing your awareness to body sensations, but also noticing your relationship to what you're doing. And remembering that you're in charge. You can stop anytime. You can adapt to your limits. You can do more. You can do less. So one of these times when you've rounded your back up towards the sky, you could stay a while, noticing how it is to be here, knowing that you can decide how long to stay. At some point, whenever you decide you're ready to, you could move to the other end of this movement spectrum, letting your belly sink down towards the floor and your chest and your tail lifting up towards the sky. Sometimes these postures are called cat and cow. And at some point, if it feels all right for your body, sinking the buttocks down towards the heels with the forehead moving towards the floor and staying here a little while. You might find it helpful to stack your fists up, one on top of the other, and put the forehead on your stacked fists. That can be helpful if the buttocks don't sink down towards the heels, if there's some tightness around. Makes it a little bit less of a stretch. If you find the head coming comfortably towards the floor, you might choose to stretch out the hands and arms towards the front of the mat, or have the arms resting by your sides, or have the head resting on the hands, one on top of the other. And as you linger in this position, noticing the experiences in the body. Contact with the floor, sensations deep inside the body, and the relationship between the mind and the body. Liking it, not liking it. Just noticing. And when you're ready, coming back to the tabletop flat back position and noticing what is present in your body and mind right now. And now extending the right foot and leg back, either with the toes tucked under on the floor or with a foot up in the air, heel stretching back and toes pointing down towards the ground, balancing. And if you wish to extend the left arm in front at shoulder level, looking out over the fingertips, feeling the crossbody stretch from the right heel to the left fingertips. And what happens if you engage the tummy muscles here? Staying in this position only as long as feels right for you. Breathing. Feeling the wobble. Always working within your own safe limits. Being sensitive to yourself as you move, but also having a sense of exploring, investigating, discovering. And now, on an exhalation, lowering the knee and hand to the floor so that you're on all fours again. And arching the back up towards the sky. Then reversing the stretch that we've just done. And coming back to the tabletop position with your back more or less flat. And this time, taking out the left leg behind you, either with the toes tucked under on the floor or with the foot up in the air, balancing, breathing. And if you choose, stretching out the right hand and arm in front of you, looking out over the fingertips, breathing, fully present with the sensations being created as you stretch. Deeply listening to the body. And when you're ready, coming back now to being on all fours and arching the back up again. And now finding your way to lying back down again on your back, either in Shavasana or the essential rest posture. Feeling any ripple effects of the stretch you've just done, noticing the flux of sensations in your body as you lie here. For this next posture, you may want to remove your socks so that your feet have a firmer grip on the floor. And drawing the knees towards the sky with the feet flat on the floor, close up towards the buttocks. And when you next breathe in, taking the hands and arms over the head and letting them rest here. And when you're ready, pushing off from your feet so that your buttocks, followed by your lower back and your middle back, come off the floor and the body is resting on the head, neck, shoulders, arms and feet. And the rest of the body is arched. And staying here, breath flowing fully and freely. In this posture, there is plenty of room to breathe. Feeling the opening of the upper body as you breathe here. And as much as possible, letting those regions of the body that are not involved in holding you to release, including the face and the arms. Working up to your own limits and exploring what arises for you here. And when you're ready, lowering the back gradually, vertebrae by vertebrae, from the top of the back down to the base of the spine, coming gradually back into contact with the floor, gently, with full awareness. And bringing the arms back alongside the body, perhaps stretching out the legs, and allowing the body once again to rest in Shavasana or the essential rest posture. Tuning into any after effects of this stretch. Being fully present with the sensations that are presenting themselves in this moment. Now the invitation is to do a simple twist stretch. So drawing the feet up close to the buttocks again, but this time widening the distance between your feet so your feet are a little bit wider than your hips, maybe as wide as your mat, and seeing how that feels. If it's too far, of course you can always make it a little narrower, having the knees closer together. Extending the arms out on either side of the body at shoulder level, making